Hello.
First, I have to say thank you to all of the supporters of the show. It comes in handy when you guys donate, so thank you for that. But I'm never going to ask for it as I don't need it. But with that being said, welcome back, Stefan.
Well, hello there.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Caleb?
I'm good, Stefan. Thanks for asking.
I didn't know people were donating. Like, they just donating like $5 here and there or something like that.
On the like Spotify and Apple Podcast, in the link or in the description, there's a support the show button link. I don't know. Yeah, link. And you go to that, it brings you to the website, and then it gives you an option to do like $3, $5, or $10 a month.
Oh, that's not bad. So it's like Twitch in a way with subscribers, because you can give like premium and like, I guess if you're subscribed to like Amazon Prime, you can give out free subs or something like that, whatever it is. And then you can like give different tiered subs for you. So if you have like tier 1, 2, 3, then whatever you get, like you got more exclusive content on Discord and Patreon and all that other crap. So, but I don't have that because I haven't streamed in a minute. But but that's at least how it is from the content creators that I watch.
Yeah, so it's maybe it's the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's kind of nice though that people are doing that. So
yeah,
stop.
Nice. I'll be able to quit my job any day.
Just in about 50 years. It's been 84 years. That old hag on Titanic.
Rose.
She probably did, right?
She's got a name.
Oh, she does? Whoa.
Rose.
Whoa. Rose. Toes. Bows.
We're going to move on.
Yeah, we're going to move on.
All right, Stefan, big question.
Yeah.
What do you think is the future holds for America?
Ooh, with current state?
Yeah, with the current state of affairs.
It's getting kind of crazy out there, if I'm honest with you. Like, from even before COVID times and whatnot, it was getting a little crazy. But now it's like, ever since COVID 2020, everything's just gone wild.
I feel like that's because more people during COVID got adapted to, I'm sorry, they didn't got adapted to, they became adapted more to being online.
Yeah, well, I mean, when the government tells you like you have a curfew and it's almost like martial law kind of, except like you're not walking outside and about to get shot, like you're under that curfew and mandate of stay inside, don't go out. If you're an essential worker, you're going to have special paperwork to drive and go do anything.
Yeah, I never had any of that, but
I did
I get that there was some of it. I don't think anybody was really paying attention to that.
Yeah.
Like, were cops really stopping people?
Probably not. They probably weren't. Because, like, I'm sitting there and I'm driving just fine. And I got my paperwork, though, from Farmers Insurance. But there were several times, like, when I worked there that I forgot to bring my paperwork from my place to the office if I had to go in to get, like, printed paperwork or whatever to send to corporate. And dude, I'm telling you, it was just like, okay, I don't see any cop pulling somebody over to just find out. Because how many people are driving on the road, first of all? You think there's going to be that many cops out on the road pulling everyone over just to verify they have paperwork?
Yeah, they don't have the time.
Right. They don't have the time or resources at that matter.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to be a cop nowadays?
That's true. But that's crazy. I forgot about all that happened during 2020.
Yeah. And then the fact, too, that you know, even stores nowadays, like, okay, so when I got COVID back in 2021, or no, it was 2020, because my dad had gotten it first, and then I got it in 2021. So it was just one of those crappy times where my dad would be at home and he would have to stay home from work, obviously. And I had to tell my work when I worked at Walgreens during that time, hey, my dad has COVID. Even though I'm not displaying the symptoms or anything like that, I still had to stay home for 2 weeks. And actually, that was the funny part about that is it was the last time that they did the whole, like, we're going to pay you for 2 weeks to stay the heck away from our store or business. And they would close down the store for about, what was it? I think it was, they closed it down from the moment that somebody announced that they had COVID or somebody in their household that had COVID until this biohazard team or something came by, and they sanitized every nook and cranny in the store. And then you'd have to wait 2 more hours after that to let everything settle, and then you could reopen for business. And it's like, holy crap.
That
just for a cold.
That would have costed a lot of money.
Yeah,
I feel like.
But Walgreens is pharmaceutical, so if you're in the pharmaceutical business, then you pretty much have like any amount of resource of money that you can get. And especially if the government is helping you fund this, because Walgreens, even at that time too, when I worked there, we were one of the first businesses to get the COVID vaccine, the very first one. And they were like, yeah, these are for the first line workers right now. And then we're going to see how we feel. And then we're going to give them out to the public and all this other crap. And me and my boss and a few others were like, no, we're not trusting that. There's been no tests on it. There's been nothing on it. Like, I want to see what happens. So me, my dad, stepmom, my brother, like, we're not vaccinated. My sister is, but she was working in a hospital at the time. So you had to. And same thing at Walgreens. If you were a pharmacist or anything in that field, you had to take the vaccine or you lose your job. So
now I know, though, after seeing the result of people who have gotten it, all the side effects they have.
Yeah.
I think if that happens again, I'm going to lose my job.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to take it.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to take it either. Like, screw that. Like, the other thing is, too, is I feel like it weakens your immune system a bit because ever since then, my dad, I mean, he's 72 years old now. But back then, even after the vaccine, like a cold, he could withstand that and be done with it within like a day or two. And it wouldn't be as bad. But I've known people that I used to work with at my old job that they got the vaccine and like their immune system they would get sick more and they'd be like having headaches more and all this other crap. And it's like, okay, like that's a clear evidence sign that something is in there that's weakening an immune system.
Yeah.
Because then at that point, conspiracy theory, I guess, in a way, but they could be maybe planning something else in regards to another pandemic. Because I know they were trying that crap earlier with another variant of COVID.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, get the other booster vaccine for it. So,
well, people aren't buying it anymore.
No, I'm
not as much as they did then, especially with all the stuff that's come out. Like it was made in a lab. I don't even think that's a conspiracy anymore. I think it's come out that it actually has been made in a lab, the COVID virus.
Yeah. And then, on top of that, and then on top of that too is just the other crap where it's like obviously back then in 2020 it was like holy crap, like we have to stay inside and everybody was in a panic. And as soon as they got word of a vaccine that somehow recently got made and like produced that same year within a few months from the actual virus releasing, now everybody's like running to go get it. But now it's like I don't care. Like my immune system, I know is strong. Sure, when I have a cold, I look like I'm dying, but like I can fight it off quicker than most people have. Like, there's been people that I know that have had a cold for like a week or two. It's like, good Lord, like, come on now, like, just take your vitamins or whatever and just be done and over with. But no,
people underestimate the power that vitamins have.
I know the Flintstone gummies. They're amazing.
Yeah.
Especially the Barney ones, you know, and then you got Fred Flintstone and who's the dog? Dino or Dino? I don't know.
I don't know who that
I think it's Dino. I think Dino is their like pet. It's a dog, but it's like a dinosaur or whatever. But anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
We're going to move on.
So the current state of affairs with America, you think that it's going to go downhill?
I'm thinking so. With the rate that things have gone on, especially like with the recent events of the Olympics where people are trying God more than they have in the last few years. Like,
and by trying, you mean mocking.
Yeah, mocking. Yeah. So trying is my version of mocking.
Right. I understand what you're saying, but there's some people who might be like, oh, does he mean like practicing the religion, or does he mean,
or like,
but you're saying like, try me.
Yeah. Like they're saying, try me, God. And so, you get the Olympics where they're mocking the Last Supper. And if you notice too, this was another cool fact I didn't know about. So when the power went out in Paris after that, there was a church that still had electricity. And it was just right there in the picture, but the media doesn't want to show that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, of course not.
Yeah. So the church was the only thing that still had power and everything else. And it's like the whole Olympics just had that power outage. And it's like, kind of shows what you're toying with. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and then even the other part is with Celine Dion. Did you hear about what happened to her recently?
No. Is she an Olympic athlete?
No, Celine Dion's the girl that's like, my heart will go on and on from Titanic. She sings that song.
Oh, I would have never known.
Yeah. So she's she has a new clothing line that she's doing. And I don't know how recent, but I know it was recent that she did this. But she's got a clothing line for kids that she's, coming out with. And the commercial for it shows she's got all these babies lined up like in a hospital, like they're just newborns. Like, so you got like your blue, your pink, blue, pink for like boy, girl, boy, girl,
Oh, let me guess.
Yeah. So get this. So she had on her clothing line, it's got like witchcraft symbols and demonic symbolization on it. And, they play it off as, oh, it's just a clothing line to make it look like a cool design. But in the commercial, she walks into that room with all the babies. She's dressed up in all black and the room gets darker. And she like blows as she goes with like this powder crap or whatever, like witchcraft crap. And
witchcraft crap.
And all the babies like turn into non-binary, like genderless, like babies and stuff. So all the clothing changes to like black and gray and whatever. And then and then it shows off the clothing line for like not only babies, but like, women and men. And it's got like, again, all the symbolism and stuff like that. And then not even, when was it? I think it was shortly after she just had a stroke and she had to go to the hospital and she was in severe pain. So it's like, again, you're saying, try me to God at that point.
Yeah.
And you're using, for one, witchcraft, which goes against God, and demonic symbolism, which also goes against God. So you're saying, come at me, bro, to God, and then that happens. God's not tolerating crap too much longer, I don't think. And that's where you're seeing more of a downfall with things like in the current state of the United States, where, again, people are mocking God and people are mocking like Christianity in general and Christians and like putting us down for believing in God. But if you don't believe in Buddha or, whatever, then shame on you and we're going to kill you or whatever they, have for their faith. Like, I think there's something in the Muslim thing in the Quran or whatever, like you're an infidel if you don't believe in Allah.
Yeah.
So Christians, we're infidels at that point. Jewish people are infidels. And so it's like, okay, but have you noticed though that Christians really don't go out there and like kill people in the name of their faith or anything like that, or start riots in the name of their faith? Like we're more like, we're kind of, what's the word for it? We're more, I wouldn't say laid back.
Peaceful.
Yeah. We're more peaceful with it.
Well, that's what we're called to be.
Right. So, yeah, we'll let stuff happen up to a certain degree, I'm sure.
Well, there was people who definitely protested the Olympics, but nobody was, at least not a good majority of Christians were rioting. I'm sure somewhere maybe there was something. I don't want to say there was none of that happening, but
no,
nothing that I know of.
No, and same here with me, other than I just knew the power went out and then the only thing that was lit up was the church. So I'm like, okay. So, and then there's other things too that are going off in the current state. Like, I don't know if you heard about Yellowstone exploding. Had a little bit of an explosion.
No.
Yeah, there was apparently like, I don't think it was a geyser. Because, I mean, a geyser would just be like, water and steam and everything else that usually has at Yellowstone. But I think it's getting closer to erupting, which, I mean, science already says like it's going to erupt at some point. It's due for an eruption. And so that could be catastrophic on top of everything else that's been going on.
Is that the one that they say if it erupts, the whole United States is gone or whatever?
Most of it.
If they even know that.
Yeah, if they even know that. Like, I think, Yellowstone, if it explodes, it's going to be at like a catastrophe. Like, there's going to be a lot of collateral damage and everything else like that and death. But that could be another thing. Somebody could be testing God over there near Yellowstone. And then next thing you know, the whole place just blows up. Because it is like, because, back in the, in the Bible days, like, when Jesus was being crucified and stuff, like and I don't know if I'm wording this correctly, but like he put up with, the soldiers like nailing him to the cross and everything else and everybody like shunning him.
Yeah.
For, spreading the word of God and everything like that. And then he died and rose again for our sins. He put up with that for us. But again, we're, I think, near the end times at this point, and with the way that the country's going, he's not tolerating the crap anymore. He's showing signs that he's existing. Because I feel like, doesn't it say somewhere like if, like it's been a minute, but if you like have mockery against God, then he's going to make his presence known. Like, he's not going to just straight up like smack you. But you know what I mean? Like,
no, yeah, I know. I don't know if it says it somewhere. Maybe it sounds like something it could, but it's definitely not something that I want to mess with.
Right. Like, I'm not going to sit there and test God, like if I don't get a girlfriend like next week and be like, oh, curse you. And then just all of a sudden I get leprosy or something like that, just out of nowhere. It's like, no, I ain't testing that. But
yeah, because that's the disease you'd get.
Yeah. I'm just saying, though, it's like I'm not wanting to test the waters on that crap. And other people are, because they're like, oh, well, my belief is going to be outranking God. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. God is the one and only true God.
Stefan, I think we need to move to Texas.
I think we should. Texas is one of those states that's like probably the most safe out of every state in the United States right now.
That and Wyoming, but I think Yellowstone touches. Well, where is Yellowstone? Is that in California?
No, it's not in California. I think it's somewhere near Wyoming-ish.
Yeah, I think it is the one by, you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
I think it's the one that's by Wyoming and Idaho. And
where is Yellowstone?
Touches somewhere around there. I think like a small part might touch Montana or something.
Wyoming National, or no, is it in Wyoming? Oh, it is in Wyoming.
Yeah, well then maybe that's not a safe state, but that is it's a huge state with barely anybody living in it. That's why I want to go there.
Yeah, and I mean that wouldn't be such a bad idea, I don't think either. I just know too that if stuff starts going south over here in Michigan, I would think out of all the states in the United States, Michigan would be the safest because we're surrounded by water to a degree.
Yeah.
And we probably have more like resources than most other states, I would think. Like, we have apple trees, we have like lumber. We're like the main supplier for automotive, like, because we have GM, Chevy, and, Ford.
Yep.
All in Michigan. So, and then you have a bunch of other resources. And I know other states obviously have their, stuff too. But it's like Michigan, if stuff happens there, my dad was telling me that you want to go south. So he's planning, like they usually go to Florida because they're old. So old people go down to Florida. But yeah, he plans on going down to Florida. And he says that would probably be the first safest place you could go. And then Texas. So I told him, if I need to go anywhere, I'm going to try to get to Florida with avoiding highways and stuff, because dang well that if in the current state of the United States, if stuff gets real with everything and, again, like people testing the waters with God, and then God's like, nope, okay, we're done with this crap. And he's showing his wrath like he did. That's the reference I was referring to is it's Noah. with the arc where people were mocking him and like, oh yeah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
but does that mean he still does that today?
No.
That's the question.
Yeah, I don't think he does. No. But like if stuff happened with that, then yeah, I'm going down south. And so I said, if I can't get to Florida, then I'm going to Texas. So those are one of the two places that I'm going to be going. So if you can't find, if I don't show up in Florida, just assume that I'm in Texas. And if anything else happens, then pray, I guess, at that point. So, but I plan on just taking my bike and whatever else I have in my bug out bag and calling it good. So,
you think you're going to survive on your motorcycle?
I mean, I would think a motorcycle is a little bit more, what's the word for it?
Agile
And durable in the aspect of if you need to go somewhere like, because you can weave in and out of traffic.
Yeah.
You can ride the sides. You can go off road to a degree, but it's not really welcoming on a motorcycle. But then you also have the aspect of a car. If you have a truck, you're probably better off because you can go off road and do all that other crap.
What about rain?
Rain? Oh, yeah. With rain on a bike, yeah, you got to be careful as crap because you're on 2 wheels versus 4 where you have some stability. So, if I'm in, I wouldn't want to drive my Accord because, I mean, yeah, it's got 4 wheels and it's got decent, miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
But in a situation where if I needed to get through or around something, you're very limited because it's way wider than this table than what we're sitting at. And then my motorcycle's like probably maybe half, no, not even half, like probably a decent sized portion of the table.
Yeah, but getting down to Texas or Florida would probably take at least a full day if you did it nonstop. How much time do you think you have if things, quote unquote, go down in America?
Well, I would say, okay, well, just speaking of I can't talk today for some reason. Hold on, let me do this. So my bike has a 4-gallon tank, and I can get 60 miles to the gallon. So that's at least 240 miles before fill up. So it's 22 hours to get to Florida. And I would say probably 30. I'm just going to say an estimate because I'm not sure with Texas. I would say about 30 hours or so for Texas. So, and this is, I think, avoiding highways, if I'm correct, is 22 hours.
Yeah, then it's going to take even longer.
Right. But I mean, if it got to that point, I think the adrenaline would be kicking in to where you ain't going to stop until you get to
even
your
your gas tank would have adrenaline and wouldn't have to fill up at all.
Imagine. No, there is a.
Yeah, but what is the back roads are going to be safer, you think?
They're going to be a lot easier to navigate through versus like the main interstates and everything like that because everybody. So here's the thing. In every zombie apocalypse, like The Walking Dead, The Last of Us, dang well that the highways, interstates, whatever, are all going to be packed because people are going to think,
maybe they're just trying to show us that in movies so that when we happens,
take the back roads.
Yeah, and they're all taken over the back roads.
That'd be screwed up. I mean, don't get me wrong. In The Walking Dead, they had some stuff where back roads were like blocked off and everything else like that. But it's one of those things again where that's going to be your easiest route to get through.
Do you think there could be a zombie apocalypse? How likely do you think a zombie apocalypse I can't talk either. Apocalypse is to happen.
In today's world, here's the only thing that I have to back up with it, okay? There's two things. I don't think it's likely still, but there's evidence that something could happen, just probably not like, where you get
and
a
for
Rick
the
Grimes.
sake of fun, we'll go with
The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Like for the sake of having a fun conversation, we'll go with the likelihood that there could be. How do you think it would happen? Because you said you had 2 reasons how it could. Okay.
There's 2 reasons. So one is a fungus, which is kind of like The Last of Us, but not really. Because in The Last of Us, it's a fungus that like mutates. It's like spores or whatever that crawl into your system, and then they like mutate you and crap, and then you're a zombie.
Yeah.
But there is an actual like fungus that it takes over ants' bodies and small insects. So what it does is it gets into their body somehow with their exoskeleton, and then it takes over the brain and it kills them. and then they take control of the body, and then they like devour other ants and all this other crap.
Right. But the ant that has the fungus is dead.
Yeah, the ant that has the fungus is dead. So they said, and this is what science said, at least what I'm reading off, is that if this fungus were to evolve and spread to a little bit bigger insects at a time, it obviously would take a while.
Yeah.
But, as it evolves, it probably could take over a human brain and, take control. And then we have a zombie apocalypse situation where it's just eating you alive and then you die and then it's taking control. So, but our brains are way too complicated versus an ant's brain to take control over.
Right.
In that aspect of things. So they would say it would take a buttload of those bacteria to get into our brain to even try to attempt to make us like zombies, I guess. The other one, I don't know what this one is exactly, but deers, I don't know if you noticed it, but there's like this bacteria where like, I don't think the deer's fully dead, but it's definitely on its way to being dead. But body parts are like falling off it. It's almost like leprosy in a way, but like its face is drooping, like it had a stroke. Its eyes are like back, like rolled in the back of their head and all this other crap. And they're just walking like normal with boils and all this other crap.
Ugh.
It's like the dead deer disease or something like that. It's called. And so they're like, I don't know what it is or anything. I've
the
done.
Dead deer disease.
I don't know. That's what I'm calling it.
Is this the second
Bambi's
way?
mom disease.
Is this the second way you think that it could, or is this like the same type of?
I guess it's both, where it's like the last one, but it's like the second, because this is where it's like it's a bigger animal that something is taking over to a degree. And so it's really like if something can evolve to get to that point where it's like eating a deer alive and it's still somewhat alive, but dead-ish at the same time, like what's saying like that couldn't happen to a human at some point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It obviously, again, with the bacteria or whatever it is evolving, it's going to take a while for that to happen. But with time, something could happen. And then there's obviously been cases like the bath salt guy in Florida where he just was so coked up on drugs that he like was eating a guy's face and they shot him like 7 times in the chest and he wouldn't go down because his adrenaline was so high.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. When you think about it.
And I mean, I guess that could be a second one too, is like there could be a drug out there that like literally kills you, but somehow it still gains control of the body. And then,
or just takes over your mind like that guy.
Yeah.
He was still alive, but I mean, it's just like
World War Z kind of thing, or even I Am Legend. I Am Legend, I think it was a vaccine that like killed everybody in the city. And Will Smith, the guy that smacked Chris Rock, was the only one that survived.
Yeah, but the fact that it was a vaccine is what's
right. So I don't think COVID would ever got.
No, yeah, I don't either. I'm just saying.
But I mean, you never know. Like they could just play it off as another disease happening, and then they inject people to see and test and like what's going on, and here's how it reacts. And next thing you know, you got a World War Z kind of like thing going on, or Walking Dead, where we're gonna have to find Rick Grimes and Daryl Dixon. They're gonna have to like save the day, pretty much.
Yeah. I'm not telling anybody where I live just because I don't want to, but I'm definitely staying here because this is a pretty safe place for anything for that to go down.
It's a Burger King. We're just up in the attic right now. It's pretty cool.
Burger King. Burger King lives here.
Yeah, you're having it your way right now, aren't you?
Yeah. Wow. Hilarious.
I know.
Earlier we talked about your bug out bag and you said now you're looking for a Bible to put in it.
Yes.
Why is that?
So my reasoning for putting a Bible in my bug out bag is in the event that something does happen in the current state of the United States, is that then that way I have a sense of comfort and confidence, I guess, in a way you could say, where if I'm alone, then I know that I have Christ in me at that point.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with this dog tag I got, where it's stainless steel. It's got the cross right here, and then it's got the Lord's Prayer underneath, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that brings a sense of comfort and confidence, where if like somebody's like mocking, hey, Christianity is fake, then it's like, no, I have the confidence to be able to stand up for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Luckily, I haven't had that yet. But in the event that that does happen, I can confidently say, like, yeah, I'm a believer of Jesus Christ. He's the only one, the Lord and Savior, you know? And the Bible, I think, would help too in the event that, like, if, you know, there's an apocalypse of some kind and we need to get out, then that Bible could help somebody else that I meet along the road. So it's almost like spreading
And
the
it's
message.
good to just have the word with you.
Right.
So you can just read it over and over. And
Yeah. And I mean, it is a King James version, but I mean, I'm still learning how to read it, you know, because it's like, 'tis of thou, and like,
yeah, it is
who art of
difficult.
thee. Yeah.
Who art of thee, yeah. It's definitely difficult.
Yeah. So,
But when you get it down, it's more fun.
yeah.
Especially the Psalms, they're very poetic.
Yeah. And that's a good thing to have too when you're just out there, because it'll at least keep you knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And, you know, it'll keep your spirits up too, because I feel like if, you know, you get your normal people that don't believe in Christ and they're going to be panicking left and right, or just going like bazonkers, I guess.
Yeah, they're not going to have peace in the chaos.
Right. And so they're not going to know what's going on, and they can mess up or even get themselves like killed. But, you know, I feel like if you got a Bible or somebody at least comes to you and like preaches the word at that point, it'll keep your spirits up and it'll get you in the right mindset to carry on and move on. And then you could also then have that person. It's like a train, you know, you spread the word, they spread the word, they spread the word, the next person, so on and so forth.
That's usually how it spreads pretty fast.
Yeah.
It spreads a lot faster than you think it does.
Yeah.
Instead of having like these big mega churches, is doing that one-on-one discipleship type thing.
Yeah. And
But what if you are the real Book of Eli?
the real Book of Eli.
Have you ever seen that movie?
Who is it that's in there? Oh, it's not
It's Denzel Washington.
that's who. Okay, yeah, Denzel Washington. It's been years since I've seen the Book of
So
Eli.
you'd obviously look a little different. But what if you
Not as handsome or buff.
Yeah, not as handsome as where I was going. But what if you were that guy?
If I was that
How
guy,
scary would that be? You had to be the guy that travels to the printing press to get the Bible there, the last Bible.
pretty scary. But at the same time, though, if I know I'm doing the right thing at that point and doing what's right in the Lord's eyes, then I should have nothing to fear at that point.
Yeah.
So, and that's how it goes even during the end times too. I don't know if you've seen any like things about the rapture and what it's going to be like for those who get left behind and everything. But like they're going to start like pulling Christians almost like they did during the Holocaust with the Nazis and the Jews, where it's going to be like, you know, submit your life to Christianity or to Satanism or whatever.
Or whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, or die or get like your skin peeled and everything else or boiled, you know. And it's like, no, and if you choose not to, yeah, you'll be on this earth temporarily, like in complete agony. But once you know, pass on, you'll be, you know, with the Lord at that point. But again, this is the perfect time right now, I think. Again, with like what I'm saying is with the current state of how everything is, I think this is a good time for people to get in tune with Christ at that point. Because then at that point, there'll be more people going up in the rapture than people staying here when that happens.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see anybody that I know, let alone myself, be down here when, you know, crap hits the fan at that point.
Yeah, it's pretty scary because in Revelations, it says like there's going to be days where people want to die, but they won't. Mm-hmm. That's kind of wild to think about.
Yeah. Well, and if you notice too, I don't feel like a whole lot of like, at least maybe other podcasts like this or something like that, like actually talk about the end times as much. Because the end times, obviously, it's scary.
Really? I think it's like over talked about sometimes.
Do you?
Well, back at Res, it seems like there was a lot of talk sometimes like we're living in the end times. But it's like we're technically ever since Jesus left, we've been in the end times.
Right. It's just been kind of dragging on until like I feel like, again, it could very well happen. We don't know, though, because it doesn't give us a date and time of when and where this is going to all take place. So, but I know we're not supposed to be able to meet the Antichrist at that point. So I know there's a World War III before.
Really?
Yeah, there's supposed to be a World War III before, and then the rapture is supposed to happen before the Antichrist can like basically because he's going to come off as this guy or whatever that he's like,
everybody's going to love him.
Yeah, everybody's going to love him. He's going to be like world peace and everything like that. And so before we even see or know who he is, we're supposed to be gone at that point. And then whoever is there like here on earth at that point will then know that, yep, that's the Antichrist and I should have listened and I should have done this. So that's where it's like right now, I think is the time to, get with Christ and be able to, redeem yourself for your sins and try to work on yourself and help others out and, help yourself, everything like that, spread the word out.
Yeah. It's because
I don't know how
kind of freaky thinking about.
Yeah. I mean, it's freaky, but it's inevitably going to happen.
Right. I know. And I hope I'm like pass on before.
Yeah.
Because there's some people who think that there is no rapture and that everybody just lives through the tribulation.
Nope.
Well, there's some like,
yeah.
I don't know who's right. Like, are you right or are these other people right?
Right.
Because there's like some people who would disagree with you and there's people who are like, yeah, I'm going to be gone when the rapture happens.
Right.
So I just hope that I'm gone before any of it.
I would hope so too at this point. I know my dad, he would sit there and talk with everything that's been going on. He goes, dude, nothing of back when I was a kid growing up or even a young adult was anything compared to today. He goes, he feels so bad for like our generation and younger generations that are here because it's just getting worse.
Yeah, because you can't live your life. It's like
you're restricted on everything, living and breathing,
Yeah, and the woke people are pushing their religion on everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you better believe this or you're bigoted or whatever.
Yeah, or you're canceled on Twitter or whatever,
Yeah.
Because that's how it is.
At the same time, there is somewhat of a culture shift where there is actually a lot of people turning to Christianity or talking about God, trying to find the truth, because we've been living in a nation of degeneracy for like the past 50, 60 years, ever since the feminist movement happened. Go figure. And
yeah, go figure.
And now everybody's seeing what this is causing, just this snowball effect of constant wokeism. And so I think there is people turning back and talking about it. So that's a good sign too, but doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to change anything, but we'll see.
I mean, just the fact of hearing that is like, it is to me good news too.
Like a lot of people on the Joe Rogan podcast are talking about it. Some of them are like weird when they talk about God.
It's the Joe Rogan show.
Right. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but then there's some like a couple weeks ago or a week ago, he had somebody who was Christian on his podcast. And that's the first time I've ever seen like somebody who is an actual, like in the description, it says Christian minister. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's cool though.
Yeah. Because people are looking for something, because obviously this trend that we're going is not bringing anything that we want.
No.
It's not helping anybody.
Well, even with music too, like not just podcasts and everything else, but like music is definitely not like the same as how it used to be too. I think it's more promoting, the devil's side of what you want, like money, fame, women, whatever, drugs, sex.
Well, rock and roll kind of did that.
Yeah,
they were a little more
tame with it.
Yeah, I would say tame.
Like Nicki Minaj.
Right. It was more subtle.
Yeah.
And now it's more in your face.
Right. And that's the thing too, is like, I mean, these kids, like my niece and nephew, again, love them to death, but the music they listen to that their school teaches them and like lets them listen to is like, what the heck are you guys doing? Like, it sounds dumb because I'm going to sound like a boomer here, even though I'm a millennial at this point, but it's like
boomer Stefan.
A boomer Stefan moment here. But like they're talking skibbity toilet and everything else. I'm like,
what is that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I've heard it before and it just doesn't make.
It's like, what happened to like music at that point? You know what I mean? Like we're listening to skibbity toilet versus like Stephen Curtis Chapman music. Like,
yeah.
For side note, my favorite song by him is The Great Adventure, it's called. My dad used to play it when I was a baby, and it would calm me down when I was like having a fit. But it's a good song that Stephen Curtis. It's literally the journey of like, you know, preaching the word to God and everything like that, and his journey through Christ and everything like that. So it's like, holy crap, like that song's good, and it's catchy too. I'm not gonna lie, I am very picky when it comes to Christian music because some of it just sounds like, oh God, like it was in a recording booth, like in a closet or something like that, and it's like, And I get it. Like I'm not like saying it's trash, but
some of it for me is a little cheesy.
Yeah, it's
especially like Christian rock.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't need Christians who are trying to be cool.
Right. Like I would rather you be natural and do your thing than try to be like the next, like, I don't know, Morgan Wallen. Like
I don't want like a Christian Motley Crue.
Right.
Because when you think about it, they're still being worldly. They're trying to appeal to the world by looking like the world, and you're supposed to not look like the world.
Right.
You're supposed to look like a Christian.
Yeah.
And so when we're singing these rock and roll songs, first of all, it's lame because nobody wants to hear, I want to submit to authority.
Right.
Like, you're not going to sing that in a rock song.
No, you're not.
Because rock music is all about like going against authority.
Yeah. Like, you know, what is it? We didn't start the fire.
Yeah.
Because the world was turning. You know?
Right. Exactly. And it's just like people try to mimic that and make it Christian. And then it's just, you don't need to be cool as a Christian. Just be Christian.
Like those people are trying to be the Kids Bop of everyday like music. Kids Bop needs to go, man. Side note.
Are they still going?
They are, and they're trash, bro.
What are they on? Like 87?
Something.
Wait, you should look it up. What if it actually is 87? That'd be funny. That'd be a good guess.
87. What Kids Bop album? Well, I guess while I'm looking this up, do you have any other input on like the music or anything in general with like Christianity where people just need to be themselves with it and not like go above and beyond like to try to fit in and be woke, I guess is the word for it?
Yeah, I was just going to say on the Christian radio, it's the same way. It's just like all this pop sounding sounds like everything else that you hear on every other radio, and I just don't understand why. What, dude? Is it 87?
No, it says no internet. It shows that stupid dinosaur that says no internet connection.
Oh, I don't have Wi-Fi anymore.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh,
so you're gonna have to get off because it was too much.
Kids.
So now whenever I have to use Wi-Fi, I go to like the cafe or the library.
I mean, that's not bad. Oh, 2020. Oh, hold on. Kids Bop albums. Here we go. How many do they have?
Hurry up.
74.
I was
so
not
close.
Yeah, I was not terrible.
74.
Flip it around, make it 47, and then add 40, and then I was right.
Dude, yeah, no, it's crazy, dude. Kids Bop. But they obviously changed the words to make it.
They have not yet. Well, yeah, I would hope. I wonder if they don't anymore, though.
They do. It's still bad. Like, and they ruined some good songs.
I'm surprised it's
too.
not like Them's Kid or Them's Bob at this point.
Gosh, yeah, no kidding. But yeah, no, like they'll take Morgan Wallen songs like Cowgirls or something and literally make it about like cowgirls. Like, oh, we're at the rodeo having a tall glass of apple juice and stuff like that. And it's like, just shut up. Like
that's weird. And it's at 74. They don't come out with one every year, do they? It's got to be several. There's no way they've been doing that thing for 74 years. They know they haven't.
Yeah, they probably haven't. But yeah, they probably just come out with a couple every year or something like that.
Well, I'll just find out they have like an old Kids Bop cassette.
Like a vinyl record.
Like a vinyl record cassette. Oh, that'd be so crazy.
Man, they went real back in time at that point.
Or you see it like on like a tablet of stone written like cavemen.
Dude, no, or what are those? There was, who was it? I think Thomas Edison made it. It was like a phonograph where it's like, it's a thing of a cylinder of wax and you turn the thing to get it started and then you speak into the microphone like what we're doing, but it's like a megaphone looking thing.
Yeah.
And then the wax is scratched and it records, or it's recorded with your voice and then you can play it back. It's like,
yeah, how would you ever figure that out?
Don't know.
That's just crazy to me. Same with vinyl records, the way they have little bumps and stuff. Like, that's what makes the sound.
Vinyl records are cool, though.
They are cool. I'm just saying it's very weird how it works.
Yeah. I like it. And then now...
It just blows my mind.
Mind blown. They got, like, weird stuff for vinyl records now, too. Like, they got a little toy thing with, like, a scratch thing at the bottom of it. And it's like a car with a speaker in it. And then... it'll go around. It'll like you turn it on and it spins the vinyl record on the turntable, and it plays the music through that car speaker. So it's like, oh, your car's driving down the road, and then you got like the little speaker that comes out of it. So it's like, so if you don't have like real vinyl record, then you get that, and I think it's like $100 or something. But it's like it's really cheap too. So I'd rather have a real vinyl record at that point. Like not like a real old one, but like they make them. They sell them at FYE.
Yeah, they sell them everywhere. I think you can get them at Walmart.
Yeah, you can get them at Walmart for like I think $150 or something, and it comes with Bluetooth, so you can play your own music on it. I'm like, that's not bad because.
Wait, are you talking about a vinyl player?
Yeah, a vinyl player.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the vinyls. I was like, dude, vinyls are not $150.
No. Like I know vinyls are everywhere and stuff like that, but like a vinyl player. Yeah. This is what that little car was. A vinyl player. It had a little scratch needle on it, and then it would drive around the record and play the music and stuff like that. But yeah, no, the vinyl record actual player itself is like $150 or more, depending on how fancy you want to get. But I mean, yeah, that's about my thought on that. Straying far away from the subject at that point, getting into music and stuff.
Yeah, well, let's stray even farther. Do you think the Trump assassination was an inside job?
See, that's where I'm kind of torn. Where I feel like it's yes and no on that one. Mainly no, though. From the way that, again, as you're piecing everything together, it definitely okay, who's going to take a literal bullet like near their head and have it?
No, I'm not saying he planned it.
Oh, but like the government like had an inside job to like assassinate him or something like that because they don't like him. Yeah. I think that at that point, it's an inside job because
there's no way that kid was working alone.
No. Well, did you hear though that they in the body cam footage, which I have actual video of, because I usually every time I see some stuff, I save it on my phone. But they one of the guys that has the body cam, he's sitting there saying like they detained somebody up in the water tower. So there was another person involved with the shooting. It's just that we don't know their part and what they played. So, and then there was also apparently a van with explosives or something like that in it too.
Yeah, but that was the kids. That was Thomas Crook's car with explosives.
Yeah, and not to be that guy, but he definitely brought off like school shooter vibes and everything.
Well, that's probably why they picked him.
Yeah.
That's why I think, because he just looked like a societal loser. I wouldn't have called him a loser.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like society would deem him as a loserish kid.
Yeah. And then I guarantee you that the government at that point probably said something like, oh, if you get this assassination, then, you'll go down in history as a hero in our eyes and all this other stuff and whatever, because, Illuminati and whatever else. But they also said too, this is the other part that I find weird, is that they said that the roof was too steep to climb up on because of the incline. But it's like, okay, but you guys are walking on it totally fine, and then you can clearly see, even from far away, you can see somebody literally laying down on that roof. So it's not like you can't see because of how steep everything is. You can't just sit there and say, oh, well, I must have missed him. He got around the corner. No. Like, you can easily tell that somebody was laying on there. They had a gun, and the Secret Service was warned about it well in advance to where they could have taken the guy down or detained him at that point.
Yeah.
And they waited till the first amount of bullets were flying to then do something. So, yeah, I totally agree that, like, something had to have been planned there.
Now, do you think it's divine intervention that he missed?
Divine intervention being like with Christ?
Like God?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
100%.
I don't know why, but I think that it was. Because there's no way. Because if he would have moved his head to the left or right, even like a millimeter, they say.
Yeah, then he would have died.
And he would have died, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I 100% that was divine intervention. Like, and then too, it's like he's sitting there, he's sticking up for everything that's right again, like with God too. So what more motivation do the people need? Because again, there's certain parties that like they want the destruction, they want the chaos, because then they can assume control and everything else versus, giving the freedom back to American people and how it should be, like how it should be. Like,
it's funny because there's Republicans and Democrats that are part of the establishment that don't like him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because my whole thing at first was it depends on the person and what their true intentions are. But then it's also which one do you think God would pick in that aspect? Like in the way like how Trump, he's doing a lot of good and he's saying God saved me that day. Like he even said it at the Trump rally.
Yeah.
So it's like he's not afraid to come out and say God, Jesus, and we're going to make America like have our Pledge of Allegiance with God bless America in it again and all this other stuff,
Yeah.
Like he's not afraid to say that versus like most politicians nowadays just are very cautious because if you say Jesus, oh, you better watch your back because you're going to get a bullet in the back of your head or you're going to...
Which is crazy that everybody gets so mad about that, even though he's not a real person.
Right.
Quotation marks. I'm not saying that he's not a real person.
Right.
They're claiming that. And they get so mad at people for mentioning it.
Well, it's also, too, like, as another example of that kind of crap, too, where they're kind of mocking, like, God and everything, you get South Park. Granted, that show... This is contradicting to me, like talking about it right now. I think the show's funny up to a certain degree. It's really bad in adult, but it's like, whatever. We're all grown-ups at this point. And I'm sure there's probably listeners here that watch South Park still, regardless.
They better not be. I don't have sinners listening to
this. Not a single one. But yeah, like it's funny because back in the day, they were the creators of South Park made fun of I think it was Muhammad or something, and because you know how South Park is, they do parodies of everything.
Yeah,
Simpsons, Family Guy, whatever.
Yep.
And they made they were mocking Muhammad and the Arabs and Muslims and everything like that, and they were getting death threats and had to have like bodyguards around them almost 24/7 and go into like the witness protection program, whatever. And then you get where there's obviously episodes mocking Jesus Christ. And there's one where Kyle, he's a Jew. He had like, I'm not going to go into total detail, but basically Christ dies again and re-rises, and it's a whole thing about Easter. And it's like, it's offensive. And it's like, okay, but we're not sending death threats to the creators at that point, you know, but it's okay because it's Jesus. We can mock him. He's not real, is how they put it.
Yeah.
But the minute you make fun of any other religion, Buddhism, Muhammad, whatever, the giant spaghetti monster in the sky, whatever you believe in at that point, you better watch your back.
Yep.
So it's like, that's where the difference is between like the peacefulness of certain, you know, faiths and whatever. And then, you know, where right now with that point where Trump, again, he can say, God bless America proudly, and people are just scared. I think that's probably what it is people are just scared. And so they're like, oh, we'll mock him. Whatever. We're scared. He ain't going to do nothing. He ain't real. And then now people are finding out. You know what I mean?
They will.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully not before it's too late, but...
Yeah. Like there are people that it's like, you know, you obviously need some good saving. I know a few people in my life right now that need a good saving for sure.
Well, I think everybody does.
Yeah. I mean, everybody does. But I don't know Jimmy across the street. You know what I mean? Like, I know...
You don't?
No.
Dude, you got to introduce yourself to Jimmy.
Bro, I live on Burton Street. You can get shot every 2 seconds if you just step outside.
I work on Burton Street.
Ooh.
I drive past Galewood. Well, no, everybody knows where you are.
That's fine.
But
it's not like I'm going to have a paparazzi outside waiting for me when I get, oh my God, it's Steph.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, that's just the thing, though, is people... You know, it's just depending on where you're at and everything like that too. You know?
Yeah.
So I would rather like I know the people that I know, I would help them. Granted, I would like to help everybody. That's the kind of person I am. But if I know you personally, or I think like you may need help, especially in that department of like Christ and getting to know him, then I would rather go to you at that point than, you know, if a neighbor's like that. I don't know. Like obviously if a neighbor needs help and they're kind of coming up, like I've gotten acquainted with my next door neighbor and stuff like that. Her name is Carol. She's sweet. She's an older lady. She's got a dog and everything, but you know, just her having someone to talk to, it helps. So you never know.
Oh, yeah.
And again, it's like whoever God puts in your life. So whether it's an ex, whether it's a current girl, or whether it's a guy friend, or whether it's like, you know, even your parents that like maybe you had a really bad relationship with and you need to rekindle, like that's another thing too, right there. So you're there to help everybody out that you can. And the more you spread the word and everything, then I'm sure the more people are obviously going to get saved at that point.
Yeah, well, you have to spread the word, but you also have to live the word.
Yes, that
you can't just because there's
spread it and do the exact opposite.
Right.
So, like, I forget the guy's name. Again, it's been a minute since I've just sat down and read my Bible. But there was scripture, like if you're struggling with like porn or something like that, you know, there's a Bible verse where it's because we kind of like guys, you know, we're more visual and women are more mindful, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Emotional.
Yeah.
And I know there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about there's some guy who he goes up to his balcony and he sees another mistress and she's like bathing and she's completely
Stefan, how could you forget? That's David.
Is it David?
Yeah, that's like one of like the biggest stories in the Bible.
Well, I mean, I know it, but I'm not good with names.
You're on probation.
Yep, I'm on probation. But yeah, it's just like you're struggling with that and you read that verse and then it's like how he got helped through that, you know, so you can kind of relate it to that. So,
well, he definitely did her.
Yeah, he did. He messed up royally.
Yeah.
But again, it's like you don't want to be that guy that like preaches. It's like, what's his name? The creepy preacher.
Kenneth Copeland,
yeah, where he's like, yes, like the Lord is my savior and I bless everybody here. And then he's like, I bought a jet from Tyler Perry with the offerings and God told me that I needed to buy it. And everything.
Right, yeah, just weird stuff like that. There was a Kenneth Copeland Bible in the Lost and Found at our church.
Nope, not touching that. That would probably burn you alive.
Well, and I found it because my brother-in-law, whose name is also Caleb, was like, hey, your Bible's in the Lost and Found. And then I walked over there and I was like,
no, it is not. And don't you ever say it was. Yeah, but creepy.
Yeah, he really is. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of people, even just like day-to-day people, not even necessarily big preachers, who walk around and give off that like judgmental type. Which as a Christian, you should definitely be stern with your beliefs.
Yeah.
But it seems like the ones who are always super judgmental about everybody are always the ones that are like have something going on
and they're just
behind the scenes. That's quite the sin.
Yeah, it is for sure. I mean, I struggled with some stuff at one point in my life, you know, being a young man in my early 20s. You know, sex before marriage and everything else like that. I know. I'm just coming out there.
Wow. I know.
It's part of my past and everything. So I'm not ashamed of it because it's one of those things that, you know, it happened and it's happening everywhere you go. But my whole thing was, you know, you're supposed to save sex before marriage. And yes, I made that mistake. Granted, it wasn't by will, but it was more, some other stuff happened that I won't say on the show. That was what she did with me. Not in that context of things, but like how it initiated essentially.
Yeah.
But that's more of a traumatization, I guess, for me at that point. But I've learned from there, like, and that's where I didn't make that same mistake with Alicia, my ex-fiance. She never had a boyfriend or anything like that, never had sex. And she was a strong believer in Christ. She went to church and everything else. And she honestly, I would say probably out of all three girlfriends that I've had, she was probably the most into Christ and everything like that.
Yeah.
And she said that she wanted to save, because, we'd have our moments like most couples do where we get close to stuff. And she would be like, no, I want to save myself. And we would have talks about it too, like save myself before, you know, for marriage, and then that way that night is obviously meant for me and you, and it's the right thing to do because it says to do so in the Bible. And so I, at that point, I was like, okay, I'm not going to push it no matter how. And that temptation kept coming though. And that's the devil playing mind tricks on you at that point.
Yeah.
So, because he's testing you, and even God can test you too at that point.
Yep.
They're both capable. And so, yeah, there'd be moments where we would get close to that, but we would both stop ourselves at that point. So, and there'd be times where she would want to keep going, and I would stop her and myself. And even if I had to remove myself out of her place, that's what I would do.
For some reason, it always feels good when you're like the guy and you say no.
Yeah.
Because I had a couple when I was dating somebody a while back. It would be like, there'd be a lot of times where I would put a stop to it.
Yeah. And that's what I think you're supposed to.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, it's like, it seems like in today's world, even in church, it's always like the guys are leading that, and they're the ones that struggle with sex the most. So then it's like, you kind of find out that that's not exactly true.
Yeah, it's not true all the time. It's common ground for both genders. Yeah,
because there have been times where quite a few times where it's like, I have to be the one to put a stop to it.
Yep.
And be like, yo, it's like, we don't want this. I mean, like, we do, but we don't because we're not married.
Right. And so, I mean, chapstick.
We're going with cucumber mint today.
Is that Burt's Bees?
Yeah.
This podcast has been sponsored by Burt's Bees.
I wish.
But yeah, like, that is one thing that I did struggle with at that point when it came to that. And I know that was a test at that point for sure, because at the time, at least before everything went to crap, was putting my faith in what God wanted me and her to have in our relationship to the test at that point.
Yeah.
He would keep pushing it. And I'm sure the devil obviously had some plan into it too, is to keep pushing it and keep letting things happen to then eventually give out. You know what I mean? And just give into that. It
starts slow.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be like right away, oh, we got way too close. It's like each time you get a little bit closer and closer until eventually it's like, oh, this is nothing.
Yeah.
But then you lose everything.
Exactly. At that point, it doesn't become special anymore.
Right.
It's just a casual Friday night or whatever.
Yeah. You're right, though. It is.
But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So that's, again, and I even help people with that too, is like, my sister helped me out with some stuff too with, Kelsey and Kylie, not so much because she was younger at that point. Not Kylie, but my sister was younger at that point. So she wasn't in relationships right away yet. I forget how old she was. But yeah, it's just, you get people that'll even help you that God will put in your life. That'll like, hey, this probably isn't a good idea, or hey, do it, but you're gonna learn the hard way at that point.
Yep.
So, and I think I think everybody needs that, honestly, regardless of how wealthy or how poor or whatever.
How smart you are.
Yep. How smart you are, how dumb you are, or whatever, or how much Arizona tea you drink, or how much chapstick you put on your lips. Like that kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah. I could always use more.
Right.
Chapstick.
But I mean, even too, with even motivation to work out or something like that too. I mean, heck, I used to be a big boy at 285.
Have you been working out consistently?
No, just mainly at work with like lifting work. I'm trying to push myself to get the heavier parts, because sometimes, I'm not going to lie, I'll be lazy.
Last week, it was brake pads. This week, I'm lifting rotors.
Right, literally, yeah. And I would purposely do the rotors because, they can weigh in variants of pounds, like 20, 30 pounds, or even 40 or 50.
Yeah.
Depending on what kind of rotors you got. And so I usually in the mornings, you scan it, you get done, and then you're just like, I don't want to do that because I'm already going to be sweating and I'm going to ache and I'm not going to want to do anything else. But it's like, that also helps you build that muscle. Like, so when you're picking it up, you're working your upper body, you're stretching this out, you're tightening these up, and
as long as you're going down correctly and using your legs, you're working those legs too.
And I noticed too, ever since I've lost like the over 40 pounds, is that my lower back is not in as much pain as it used to be. Because obviously when your lower back is like a really good strong point, but if you mess that up, like, good luck. So, because I've had that too, where I've been so big, like again, 285 was the max that I ever have gotten in my life, and I never want to exceed that number ever again or get close to that number ever again. Right now, I'm currently 244, so yeah, decent amount of weight loss there, and yeah, I can lift up stuff without my back being in pain. I used to be able to not get out of bed easily in the morning, and my feet too have felt a lot. They still hurt, but I can get out of bed easier without limping as much. So I know with that dedication, and honestly, I feel like even when I listen to the podcast, like of other episodes you previously have done, like just listening to that and having the word of God in my ear as I'm like lifting and moving and, you know, climbing up ladders and crap and, you know, reaching over my shoulders for stuff, that helps.
Yeah.
With motivation. And so God can do a lot in your life too with motivation and everything like that when it comes to weight loss, whether it's like even your special gift of like art, music, whatever, you know, as long as you let God into your life and you let him kind of guide you at that point, you're going to succeed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Next step is you should just start going on the treadmill after work a couple of days.
What I need to do is
if you combined that with the job, you'd probably lose more.
I need to do sit-ups or something because I still got basically a fupa at this point.
Yes, but sit-ups aren't going to get rid of don't burn fat.
No, I need it to tighten or get rid of the gut a little bit. I still got a gut, obviously, but it's not as bad as what it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like somebody else I know who's like 420 pounds right now, but...
Yeah.
Well, and I mean that with all, like, not mockery, but, like, I know him personally, so... I mean, we always make fun, but he is losing weight, though. You can see it in his face. So... Well,
good.
Yeah, so he's starting to get better about taking care of himself more, and I'm like, dude, you need to, because you have kids and a fiance, and I don't want to be carrying that casket because it's going to be heavy, and I'm going to break my back.
That's what you care about?
No, but you know what I mean. I care for his personal well-being and stuff. And, and it seems like his depression has gone down a bit, so which helps out too, because depression can be in what's the word for it? Like, I guess an additive to your weight gain, you know, because if you're depressed, like some people eat when they're depressed.
Some people don't eat. Yeah.
Yeah. And the people that don't eat, they lose weight. And some people that do, they gain weight. And this guy gains weight.
Well, depression is a hard one because it's really hard to get rid of, but also easy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's brought on from
trauma,
that or not getting outside. Mm-hmm. Like I remember I used to have depression, and then I started exercising more, going outside, eating healthier. And now I don't really ever struggle with it at all anymore.
I still have depression to a degree. It's not as bad as what it used to be. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and I'll just say it as is right now. Back in the day, I had thoughts of suicide, and it was really bad. And there came a couple moments where I had attempted it, and it was, again, really bad. But I know throughout the years...
Stefan, I never knew about this.
Yeah, it was back when Kylie, my first girlfriend, with her.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how old I was during that time.
I was 23 when I was dating her.
So I would have been 22. Yeah, I don't think we were really like hanging out during that phase of life for whatever reason.
No, I think part of it was just, I think because me and her were dating, so I was more focused on her at that point and trying to get to know her.
Yeah, it was back in the days where when you get a girlfriend, not you, but anybody.
Yeah, just anybody.
Yeah, anybody gets a girlfriend, it's like you spend all your time with them.
Yep.
And now when you get older, you realize that's not really the way to do it.
Yeah. And you want to have that equality, and you want to have that time where you can have time to yourself. She can have time to herself. And
time with your friends.
Time with friends, family, whichever. So, I mean, heck, when I dated Alicia, and even Kelsey, I made it very well aware to them that Sundays are my family day. So if we don't get to see each other on Sunday, because she would do the same thing. Alicia would. Kelsey, I don't. She had a bad thing with her parents, so she was just bored. She went to church and then she went home and just sat around and did nothing. But Alicia, she would go see her parents and I would go see mine, or there'd be days where I go see my folks for a couple hours And then I'd go see her folks for a couple hours, and then it would switch to where then she would see her folks for a couple hours, then she'd come see mine. We all hang out, have a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we just go back to work on Monday like everything was normal. So, you know, you need to have that common ground too in that. So, because you're going to get sick and tired of each other if you're around each other 24/7 like that. It's ridiculous. Because if your intentions are obviously marrying, you're already going to be with them every day of the week. So, yeah, you get that work period where, work may be stressful, but it's a little bit of a break. And then you come home, you get like a nice home cooked meal or just watching a movie or something like that, like hot buttery popcorn, you know, like something. But yeah, it's just little moments like that. But I mean, again, God will put somebody in your life too, whether male, female, you know, whichever, friend, relationship, even just an acquaintanceship or just a customer at a store. You know, some rando that comes up to you in the peanut butter section and goes, "Hey man, how's it going?" And he just talks to you and whatever. And there's just something different about him. And it's like you just talk and everything's all good, you know?
What's that noise?
What noise?
Maybe I'm just hearing something.
I don't hear anything.
Yeah, I thought the camera shut off, but it's still going.
No, it's still going. There's a light. So,
I don't know what I'm hearing then. Maybe I'm just going.
Gone crazy.
Maybe I'm just going crazy.
I'm gone senile. But yeah, is there anything else that you want to talk or ask or anything?
Not really.
No?
We're at about an hour and 10 minutes, so.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any other input. I think we pretty much like talked about the current state of America, went off topic about Kids Bop and everything else and stuff.
Yeah, we talked about it all. Another episode of just talking.
Yeah. So, which is fine.
You're like the fun guest.
I'm the fun guest.
The fun guest. So anyway, everybody, thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you.
And don't forget to have a blessed week. Bye.
Bye.